Good afternoon, everyone. I am Miss Sam, your guidance officer, and welcome to our special episode of Taking Care of You.
Please show me the way, baby, to your heart. Nothing is better for me, nothing is better.
So, for this episode, we will be talking about self-care. So, self-care is the practice of protecting one's own well-being and happiness, particularly when we are stressed out. That's why it is very important to know more and be aware of this. So today's episode is extra special because we have invited two powerful guests, a teacher and his students. So to meet them, please watch this. So please welcome from Southville International School and Colleges, Dr. Ruel Cajili and Miss Jodi Santamaria. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sam, and good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Jodi.
Hello, Doc Ruel. Hello, Sam. And hello to everybody who's watching this today. I'm actually feeling so good and so excited about this topic. I think it's, very timely that we talk about self-care.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm very much excited to discuss and share insights, of course, about one of the important practices that we can do in this time of the pandemic. So, of course, before we finally dive into that, I would like to ask Dr. Well, of course, Dr. Well, how does it feel having a famous celebrity as your student?
Well, to be honest, when I started talking to Jodi, applying for Southville, same feeling as yours, it was really something that would speak of overwhelming on my end, seeing an ace actress going in. However, going through the years, with Jodi, it's like she never wanted to be treated like an actress. No, she wanted to be treated like a normal student, and she's very humble, and then very respectful. And it's really indeed an honor to have really Jodi, in the family of the College of Psychology of Southville.
Wow, that's very nice. I hope I can be your classmate, maybe in masters. I can stop and then I can wait for you. There. Doc Ruel is one of the most brilliant people in Southville in the field of psychology, right? So how is Dr. Well as your teacher?
Well, he is one of the most hardworking, determined, dedicated, and selfless people that I know. And I think the dictionary will run out of positive adjectives to describe him. And I'm so grateful and I feel so blessed that to have him as my dean and also to have him as my teacher when I was studying psychology in Southville. And I believe that everything that I know today is because of him, and I consider him my mentor and also a good friend.
Wow. That's so nice. And I also agree to that because I always look up to Dr. Will for being so hands-on and excellent in his field, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so now, of course, we will be discussing self-care and we will immediately dive into the topic by asking Dr. Will what really is self-care and why is this important? So, Dr. Will, could you please enlighten us?
Well, of course, self-care is something that would speak of really giving something for ourselves, especially in times like this, pandemic. People nowadays are surprised, with the situation that they are not expected to actually experience. um, self-care is more of really how one would start loving himself. Because nowadays, people would always think less or if not least of themselves. No, it's always towards others. And usually, ang mga tao, whenever they would speak of themselves, it's always in reference of other people. Now, self-care would speak of how we balance things that we do, no, and at the same time, how we do things for ourselves. So there should be really a balance and equilibrium. And usually, when we talk about self-care, it's always doing something that is different from the routine, no, that we usually do in life. Like, for example, when you are working, after that, then definitely you do something that is not related to work. That is self-care. So after 8 hours of work, after 8 hours of exposing yourself to gadgets, no, to computer screen and all, then do something that is different, like of course, like reading books, listening to music, no. So that is really one way to say about self-care, and especially at this time that we are, forced to transition to new normal. And as I mentioned, whenever one transitions, there is an adjustment, there is difficulty. And part of that would speak of really how you will take care of yourself. So there.
Well, if I may add to what Dr. Ruel said, I would like to clear something up first about what self-care is really about, because there are, a lot of misconceptions about it. And I would just like to say that, self-care is not in any way synonymous to being selfish or being self-indulgent. It simply means that you are taking care of yourself and your needs so that you can be mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physically, spiritually healthy human being. And why is that important? It's because, we have a lot of things to do. We have duties, we have tasks, and we have to be healthy so that we can help and care for others as well. We cannot give what we don't have. And why are we talking about self-care now? It's because Google Trends said that, the searches for self-care this year has doubled. So people are really trying to find ways on how to cope with the stressors. And these are the things that we cannot do anything about. It is something that we cannot control. But the good news is we can do something about us. How we deal with stressors, how we manage them, and how we can help ourselves prevent it as well. So I guess it's just timely that we talk about it, about self-care, um, how you are going to help yourself with or without a mental health care provider.
I've read this in Psychom, so it says there, for some people, self-care is a form of self-indulgence. They either don't make the time for or don't think it's necessary, but that may be because they don't actually understand what it means, right? So self-care isn't about weekly massages or buying yourself whatever you want. It's a lot more basic. So some research on self-care describes brushing teeth as a form of self-care there.
Yeah.
So very simple things that can also be a form of self-care. Okay, so that was a fruitful discussion to start our session. And before we proceed to the next leg of our session, let's do some quick game called Game of Choices there. So I will be presenting two options and you may simply answer which of the two options you like or would rather have or do. So you may answer at the same time. Ready? Very easy. Okay, so the first one, which would you rather have? Rest or play?
Rest.
How about Ruel?
Rest siya eh. Pero gusto ko rin yung play.
Swimming or running?
Running.
Which would you rather be? Gutom or sobrang busog?
Gutom paradise. Joke.
Gutom.
Gutom. Gutom or puyat?
Wala. Kasi pag puyat ka, gutom ka rin. Oh, I know.
Yes. How about Dr. Well?
Puyat. I'm getting used to it na.
Yes. Yes, sir. We know how busy you are. Okay, next one. Massage or exercise?
Pwedeng both.
How
At
about
this point, I think my body needs a massage.
a massage? Dr. Well?
I haven't tried one, but I go for massage.
Okay, next one. Sleep or eat?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Sleep. Yeah,
Sleep.
me too, sleep. A chat with coffee or a chat with wine?
A chat with wine. I don't drink coffee.
Sorry, because I'm starting to love puyat. A chat with coffee.
Okay. Next one. A hug of silence or a long conversation?
Hmm.
A hug of silence or a long conversation.
Okay. Siguro ako, long conversation.
Long conversation.
Me, a hug of silence.
A hug of silence. Next, me time with or time with friends.
Me time.
Kasi I've been telling Jodi this no? Exclusive ako. Parang gusto ko naman ngayon a time with friends.
Okay. Yoga or Zumba?
Yoga.
Pwedeng wala. Hindi ko pa na-try yung parehas. Dahil alam ko si Jodi nasa siya eh. No, you're into yoga, right?
Yes.
Si Jodi.
You can try that maybe, Dr. Well, the yoga. Next one, watch a movie or dine out?
Movie.
Dine out for
Dine
me.
out. And last one, watch the sunset or listen to music?
Watch the sunset.
Listen to music.
Yeah.
I know, sir.
Know it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was fun. And of course, I got to know you a bit more, although you have different answers from most of the questions, right? But of course, that's how you take care of yourself. There. So moving on, let's now talk about self-care. And of course, we will be focusing on your personal experiences. So maybe we can start at the rate of 1 to 10, how busy are you?
Would you like to start, sir? Are you?
So in terms of being busy, I think I'm exceeding 10. No, because of so many things happening around, especially that we transition to new normal.
Well, my sense of being busy, has changed from pre-pandemic to pandemic, because before we would tape 3, 4, 5 times a week for more than 18 hours. That was during the pandemic. But when the pandemic happened, our taping schedule was only limited to 12 hours. So I would say that we are not as busy as we used to be. It's just that we just have to go in a bubble or in a lock-in taping, and we have to stay there for sometimes 2 weeks or more, even as long as, a month and a half.
Well, that's long. So a different challenge for you now
Yes.
during the pandemic. I see. Describe your busiest day. Yes.
I think my busiest day happened about, 2 years ago, when I was going to school, finishing my degree in psychology. I was doing a teleserye. I was also filming a movie, and I was also taking care of my son, and all these things, doing my vlog. So there were times that I just find myself so tired, and I would just cry and ask myself, why am I doing this? Why? But then later on, I just have to, gather my thoughts and collect myself and just go back to the reasons why I'm doing the things I'm doing and just, dust myself off and just move forward.
That's of course the life of an actress and a mother at the same
Yeah.
time, and also a
And
student.
a student, yeah.
How about Dr. Ruel?
Perhaps my busiest day would be my everyday routine. No, because as someone really, handling so many programs and at the same time also doing other tasks, wearing the hat of the dean, addressing the concerns of my students, knowing that I have several programs, and then now I move to the quality system to check the quality of the institution and at the same time to work on the initiatives. So what I did would speak of really me accepting the role that I should not have doubts of performing what needs to be delivered. And thank God, no, thank God that I get used to it. No, I get used to being busy. No, minsan may mga pagkakataon na or days that it's like I'm doing nothing yet I'm claiming for more. No, I do not know what's happening to me, but I'm starting to love the routine of being busy.
Yes, because you have sense of purpose, right, Dr. Well? If you're
Yeah.
doing a lot of things, yeah. Okay, but was there ever a time that you felt extremely stressed, frustrated, or very exhausted because of your busy schedule?
I think that's normal for an individual to experience all those things. You cannot take it out as part of, the feeling or emotion of one. The reason why we are responding to a situation, it is expected that we also have to deal with the emotion as we respond to that. On my end, yes, no, because I still believe I'm a human being, I'm an individual. But what's important is you should know how to manage. Okay, you should know how to manage your emotions in terms of dealing with stress. And mind you, when you get to experience a problem or a stressor or you find the situation challenging, you thought that's already the worst of the situation that you will be facing without you knowing that all the more that you still be facing a lot of challenges in life. That's why I would always tell my students, hindi pa yan. No, you haven't really tried the real world of work, of what the work is all about. So there.
I completely agree with what Dr. Ruel said. Well, we are all human beings. We all have emotions and feelings. Stressors are all around us. It's really just a matter of how do we deal with the things that's happening to us. How do we manage them? And I guess for me, when I get too tired or exhausted with work, I just, kind of pause a bit and take a break, and that is okay. And
Yes.
I just begin to reassess my priorities, my non-negotiables, because sometimes as human beings, we tend to do so much than what we're capable of because we think that when we're so busy we're being productive, when what's happening really is when we're so busy we're not really accomplishing much. It's because we are overwhelmed. And in my case, I'm speaking for myself. When I get overwhelmed with so many things, I have a tendency to get paralyzed. Like I'm like, okay, anong gagawin ko? I just freeze. So I just really breathe and pause and tell myself that Jodi, it's okay if you don't do anything today. It's okay to rest. It's okay to be, you know just do nothing. And I think that is also being kind to yourself.
That is very helpful as well, right? Because it's very important to calm yourself first. Because of course, if you are so bombarded with many things, you cannot exactly do, of course, expect a lot of beautiful outcomes from what you are doing, right? What self care do you do for yourself?
Well, self-care doesn't look the same for everybody. That's because we are our own individual. We are we are unique. We are different from each other. So we have different needs, and that those needs need to be catered differently. Well, for me, self-care would look like um, doing nothing, just reading a good book, writing my thoughts on a journal, meditating, and as part of my physical self-care, of course, kahit yung simpleng paliligo lang araw-araw, pag-brush ng teeth, or pagkain ng mga nutritious na pagkain. So that's what I do. I mean, that's self-care for me. It doesn't have to be expensive. Kasi people would say, ang mahal, pupunta ako sa gantong place, or I don't have money. You can just stay home and, just spend time with yourself and just try to recharge and rejuvenate. And that is self-care. Or just listen to music. I mean, you guys have Spotify. I mean, we're in that generation where everything is just so accessible on the internet. So you can just listen to your favorite music, or even hang out with people who uplift you, who support you, and who love you. I mean, that's still part of self-care. And those are just some of the examples that I personally do.
You know what, Sam? You know what? Listening to Jodi now, parang I should have told myself that this student of mine should have received 4.0 no during the defense, no, because she has already she has embodied everything about the discipline, no, parang it's like she has already shown, no, what the discipline is all about through this kind of answer that she has been sharing. Now, I agree with her, no, that self-care is different from different people depending on how they see themselves. As I mentioned nga, di ba, a while ago, that people would always think less of themselves. On my end, no, the right way of doing self-care is doing it for yourself, not actually pleasing other people. Like for example, others would like to go somewhere and post it in Facebook just to get to be pleased by others. Oh, she went to Hong Kong, she went to Amanpulo or whatsoever, and just to brag and post in Facebook. That's not self care, no, because again, your response to the situation is of course getting the reaction coming from other people. Of course, the first thing that you have to do is what is really what you want, what will make you happy, what is really your interest. So that's like what Jodi mentioned, a simple, staying in the room, no, listening to music, no, sleeping or reading a good book. Okay, that's a self-care. But others would speak of really like chatting, talking about some silly stuff. That's also self-care, that you made yourself happy for a moment, no, something different that is away from the usual routine or origin of stressors. On my end, what I do now, I think I shared this with Jodi, and I think Jodi was able to reveal that I would always play music, instrumental music that would speak of really very calming. But at this time now, I'm into watching Netflix. No, particularly the K-drama. Before, I don't like that. Sorry, I don't like. I don't understand why people really would spend time watching K-drama. No, K-dramas. But when this pandemic happened, no, I just tried once, and up to this time, no, I still watch K-dramas, no, and also the Thai series. Of course, whenever the film of Jodi would be in Netflix, I watch again, no.
Thank you.
No, yung Promise, no, yung recent teleserye niya, I still watch. My family would watch that. And my family nga is asking me, oh, when will be the new series of Jodi? That makes us happy. No, something that would speak of it's really us. No pretension. We don't need to, because that is something that speaks of for ourselves, right?
Sam, if I may add, I think what we forget the most, that's why we get so emotionally depleted, no, is we sometimes forget to set boundaries. We should also learn how to say no. Kasi each time we say no to other people, we are saying yes to ourselves. And I hope that we don't forget that and never lose sight of that.
That was a very meaningful discussion, and I personally learned a lot from you. If we can just let everyone know that self-care can be as simple as those, they might be doing that as well. And for sure, it will really help them a lot there. So at this point, we will have a simple role play activity as a jumping board for our discussions. We will play a scene from a movie, and the two of you will have to copy the scene, saying the same lines. And after that, we will discuss the context. So don't worry, there will be a script. Okay. Are you ready, Dr. Ruel and Miss Jodi? Ready?
Naka-pressure ako. Kasi best actress yung yung kasama ko dito.
Dr. Ruel, this is your break for our first scene entitled Susubukan. Okay, here. Let's try the first scene.
Are you serious?
Sir, susubukan niyo lang naman eh. Wala naman hong mawawala.
Okay, and for the script, of course, DR for Dr. Ruel and JS for Miss Jodi. So that would be the script.
Diba gaganito ako, di ba? Kasi...
Are you ready? There. So 3, 2, 1, action.
What? Are you serious?
Susubukan niyo lang naman, sir. Wala naman hong mawawala.
So nice. Okay, there. So of course, to connect with our session.
Nare-pressure talaga ako. Parang hindi ako makakakuha ng 4.0 dito sa aking
Oh no, but that was great, Dr. Ruel. Very, very nice. Okay, there.
Bravo!
So Jodi, itatas mo na ako sa next time.
Yes, sa next serye, kasama ka na.
Kasama na.
You're in!
There, sir, parang si Ian Veneracion lang. Super nice. Okay, so going back, susubukan kasi wala namang mawawala. So a while ago, you both mentioned the self-care practices that you do for yourselves. Among those, choose one that you would like to recommend to each other or to our audience. Ano yung dapat nilang subukan? What should they try?
They should not fear facing challenges in life. There are so many things now that people would always say I can't, and they fear the consequence though they have not tried it yet. Okay, so nagiging warrior yung tao, despite hindi pa niya na naranasan yung sitwasyon. I would always tell them that why not look at the brighter side of the situation. So you haven't tried the situation yet, and what if it turned out to be good? Okay, so especially for the generation now, yung mga teenagers natin, so the millennials, so they easily would say no, I can't. They easily give up, because that is really one description of this generation. As compared to the previous. Now, I'm not saying that I'm comparing different generations, but the generation now needs more support, needs more help. That they need to really understand that life is like this. If you will not be that confident, competent, or strong, then definitely you won't be able to proceed. So that is really what I would like to tell people now, that don't fear accepting challenges. And of course, another, may I just add one? Try to start acknowledging your mistakes. So there.
Yeah, to improve, right, sir? When you acknowledge your mistake, you will improve. Mm-hmm. How about Miss Jodi?
Well, coming from the context of our scene, what are you serious? susubukan mo lang naman, walang mawawala. I know most of the people watching today are, are teenagers, and we all know that almost everyone has social media. So I think what I would want to say is that choose you by going on a social media detox. You can actually set, let's say, time for you to use social media or be on social media, or you can even go on a higher level of detoxification by not being on social media for a week. But I don't know how is that going to affect you, but I believe that that is going to be good for your mental health, and that is a good self-care practice. Choose you. If anything that you see online is detrimental to your mental health, if it's something that's, irritating you or influencing your emotions, please feel free to block, to mute, or unfollow anything that will undermine your peace. So that's what I want to tell, our kids watching this today, that it's okay to do a social media detox for your own sanity, and for your own mental health. I mean, I know a lot of people getting depressed and anxious because of what they see on social media. And not only that, because they base their self-worth, their value, their identity on the number of likes and follows. And I would just like to remind you, my beautiful children, anak ko na sila lahat, that your worth is not defined by the number of likes and follows. You are your own unique individual, and you are special, you are loved, you are valued, regardless of the number of follows and likes you have on your social media account. So I encourage you to do a social media detox.
So choose you. That's very nice.
Choose you.
Yeah. So the viewers, please don't forget that. Choose you. It's okay, and it's not selfish there. Okay,
Yeah.
so on to our next scene. Are you ready? For entitled Healthy Living.
Alam mo naman, tumatanda na tayo. Healthy living.
Healthy living, healthy living. Lakas mo kaya mag-yossi?
Quit smoking 4 years ago na rin.
Talaga?
I'm a changed man, you know.
That's what they all say.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
Alam mo naman, tumatanda na tayo. Healthy living.
Healthy living, healthy living. Lakas mo kaya mag-yossi?
I quit smoking 4 years ago.
Talaga?
I'm a changed man, you know.
That's what they all say.
Wow! Miss Donna said, I so love it. Yeah, we love it. Super nice. Okay, so there. In that scene, it implies doubt about healthy living or self-care, because many times we tend to go back to our old ways. So do you have any experience with this? Like, for instance, you try to start a healthy regimen or routine or program, but eventually you become not consistent.
I am guilty with this one because I have started my what do you call this? My weight training. So I was doing it for like 4 to 5 times a week, 1 hour per day, and started on my meal plan. So a high protein diet, less carbs. And, I was like, developing muscles and all because I wanted to have abs. But later on, I went on a vacation, so natigil yung routine. And after that, I just found it hard to motivate myself to get back to my weight training program. So that is something that I am guilty of, to be honest.
How about Dr. Well?
Yeah, same with Jodi. I can clearly remember December 27, 2020. No, I told myself I would start really losing weight, no, through, doing just a 30-minute exercise, inside my room every day. So I was very, consistent for 2 weeks. Then here comes January when we started working again. That it started, not doing doing it religiously, and then I skipped for a day without me knowing. I have already skipped doing that routine for 2 months already, but I was able to go back starting last August up to this time. Hopefully magtuloy-tuloy na siya.
Wow, congratulations, sir. And Miss Viola said super can relate here. And Miss Donna, this is so true. The world can relate. Okay, so for our third seat, are you ready? There, it's entitled Love Yourself.
Hindi kita i-judge.
Ano mo kasi nasagot yung tanong ko? Ano naman gagawin ko?
But don't forget to love yourself. Okay?
Out there.
Ikaw si Regine.
Woo! Woo! Okay.
Lights, camera, action.
Hindi kita i-judge.
Hindi mo sinasagot yung tanong ko.
Oh,
Ano na nga yung gagawin ko?
don't forget to love yourself, okay?
Super nice. Okay, so there. Don't forget to love yourself. This time, I would like to connect this to a deeper issue, which is mental health care. So we have already discussed things on self-care and you have shared your own routines. But now the question is, how can you love yourself in terms of your mental health?
Madali lang naman yan. Now, when we talk about loving oneself, first, you have to prioritize yourself. Right? You cannot love yourself without you prioritizing yourself, thinking yourself first, before others. Just like what Jodi mentioned, choose you, choose yourself. That you are not doing things based on the expectation of other people or how you will please other people. That's the most difficult of all, that you are creating an image because of other people. Always remember that things happen based on your decision, and that decision should be really more of towards yourself. Love yourself, accept who you are, accept what you are. Yung maliliit na bagay that you think you haven't done for yourself, do those things. So there, you start loving yourself.
It's such a beautiful sentence or maybe phrase, love yourself. But sometimes the question is, how are we loving ourselves, or are we really loving ourselves? And what I would say about that is, in connection to self-care, choosing yourself is not selfish. Loving yourself is not selfish at all. Because first and foremost, the best relationship that you can have is first and foremost with yourself. If you have a healthy relationship with yourself, if you love yourself, then you can love other people. If you're treating yourself with kindness, then you can treat other people with kindness. If you talk positively to yourself, then you can speak words of life to other people. So it has to begin with you. So you have to love yourself. That means that accepting yourself for who you are, not just the good parts of you, even your flaws, even your weaknesses, even your imperfections. You have to acknowledge, accept, and embrace them, because that makes you who you are. That makes you you. So that's
It's
my
very deep and encouraging as well. So on to our last scene. Scene 4 entitled Nagbubulag-bulagan.
Mika, hindi mo alam ang nangyayari.
Ano hindi?
Hindi ako yan!
Wala sa mga nangyayari dito!
Tama na!
Oh my God!
Okay.
Teka.
Yeah, we will see the anger.
So you have to motivate yourself.
Tama.
And
You have to internalize, no?
Okay, lights, camera, action.
Tumahimik ka! Hindi mo alam ang mga nangyayari.
Anong hindi? Alam ko. At ayoko na magbulag-bulagan sa mga nangyayari dito.
Tama na!
You can audition already, Dr. Ruel. Super.
Cover the star. Pwede ka na mag-PBB.
Basta ikaw ang host. Ikaw si Kuya.
Still connecting this to mental health, was there a time like an issue on mental health that the community turns a blind eye to, yung nagbubulag-bulagan, or maybe concerns on mental health that we ignore?
You know what? I think that's the problem that we are facing today. It's, people are turning a blind eye to what's really happening. And just because that most mental illnesses cannot be measured the way hypertension is being measured or the way diabetes is being measured, it does not mean that it's not real. And, I believe that the reason why most people are in denial or even have feelings of guilt and shame, it's because of the stigma. And I hope that we can really just spread awareness about this matter, that mental health is real and there is no health without mental health. It is part of who we are. And I hope that, people will just begin to acknowledge that. And instead of judging people, instead of making them feel ashamed for having whatever it is that they have, I hope people become more kind and more compassionate and more loving towards those in need. After all, we are all human beings, and we have to be united and be here for one another and encourage one another and lift one another, instead of bring people down just because she has something she does not. And for those people who are, let's say, mentally well, be grateful that you don't have to go through the pain and suffering of those with mental illness or those with mental health issues are going through. So instead of judging, please start helping.
No, I think the problem here is more of the stigma. As they always say, as we always say, it's only when one experiences the situation when he starts to understand it. The way to accept the understanding of what the person has gone through is far different when you get into the actual situation. There are a lot of people that would say, I do this, I understand them and all. But if you are already encountering the problem, you could deny what you have been telling other people. So there is really a conflict now with what you are trying to say and doing what has been said. The stigma itself is what putting the people who have the condition in a different context. We have to be very empathic we have to really understand and even establish support for them. And of course, a lot of people now try to romanticize different conditions, and that is so frustrating, because it's becoming because they romanticize, they're treating it as if it's just an ordinary problem, an ordinary concern. That these people need help, that these people need support. So if we will just understand how these people go through, the reason why they experience this or the trauma that they had, then people will become more compassionate, people will become more caring. And I think this is what everyone needs, to be educated, as regards mental health. So there.
And maybe a common misconception is it's like they use the word depressed as being, as describing they are sad.
Yeah.
Right?
But there are people who will post, I am
I'm
depressed.
depressed.
But there's a reason pala why the person is sad, because he failed the subject. So he's just sad, not depressed. But they are highlighting the situation too much.
I think they're using, let's say, the words loosely. That being depressed is really so different from being sad or lonely.
Yeah, so very different.
Oh, there's also one situation wherein people would say, sorry, OC kasi ako eh. But it's just a usual thing that they do. You just, wash your hand, but you are trying to use the word OC. There's different criteria when we talk about OC.
Yeah. Or how some people would just label people when they shift moods. Bipolar kasi yan.
Yeah.
You don't really understand what the condition means just because the person has shifted from, let's say, being happy then sad the next minute does not make that person a bipolar. I mean, there are criteria for you to see if really a person has the disorder or not. And those criteria, have to be met.
And that's also very dangerous because the more you loosely use the word, the more you imbibe it.
You become it, you live it. So we have to be very careful.
Yeah, so also a reminder to our viewers, right? So just choose the words, right? The right terms to use on your emotions, of course.
If you're really feeling something weird or odd about yourself, that you feel that you're not your usual self, you're losing sleep, or you're oversleeping or overeating, or having this thoughts of wanting to just not wake up the following day, please seek professional help. Don't look at Dr. Google. Please seek professional advice.
So what do you do to fight your worries, fears, and anxieties?
Well, a simple thing that I do is I just ask myself, where is this coming from? I would really ask myself, was I triggered, or did something happen to me that, that caused me to be worried or anxious or fearful? I ask myself, and then I don't deny that I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling. I acknowledge, and then I remind myself that, these are emotions. I'm a human being. It's normal for me to feel these things, and these emotions won't harm me. They won't kill me. And then I slowly release and let them go. So that's what I personally do.
I think the advantage of people like us who has the background of psychology is we know how to self-evaluate. Okay, so just like what Jodi mentioned, we get to ask ourselves, where are these coming from? The situations. We can even contemplate, and work on the core reason, of this certain reaction that we have. But of course, we still practice that you cannot help yourself, so you need someone to help you. So that's why I mentioned a while ago, and I think Jodi mentioned it as well, that you don't self-diagnose or you don't self-assess. However, you can reflect. You can reflect. You can reflect. On my end, what I do whenever I feel that would speak of really, I just keep quiet. No, and I just keep quiet, I pause, and I give myself some time, okay, not to think of the situation.
Yeah. And do you have other mental health care tips that you can add?
Well, I don't want to go very technical, no, in terms of me giving some tips as regards self-care or mental health tips, no. But I just would like to emphasize three things. Okay. First, always love yourself, no. Do things that will make you happy. Second, acknowledge your mistakes, acknowledge your weakness in the same way that you are acknowledging your strengths. Okay. And third, always give a lot of time for yourself, especially at this time. So having all these three is a good foundation to actually build yourself. And as Jodi mentioned a while ago, if you have really something that would speak of a good foundation of yourself, that is your threshold to give back, not to others. That's when you can start reaching out to others. Okay, so there.
Well, for me, I think a lot has been said already, but there's more to add. Ang dami pa rin. No, I think number one would be, accept and acknowledge. Accept for example, I'm just giving the situation that we are in now, that we have to accept that we are in a pandemic, and we have to acknowledge that. We cannot be living in denial that, it's not happening, there's no virus going around, but we have to accept that. And then my second would be to behave accordingly. I know that most of us, when we get triggered, we respond right away to the stimulus or whatever it is that, ticked us. But, there's this space between stimulus and response, which is so powerful in my opinion, and that is the pause. So before you respond to a situation, just try to pause first, so that you don't react. You respond, because reaction is different from response. And number three is, I guess it's so important at this point to have a sense of community. Have a support group. Know that you are not alone with what you're going through. Be there for somebody. Reach out to somebody. And without forgetting to also take care of your own needs.
Wow, that is so deep and inspiring. I'm sure all our viewers will follow your mental health care tips. That's
my ABCs.
Yeah, the ABC. Okay, so on to the next. I am very, very excited for this segment. It's called Fast Talk. So I have some questions here, and you have to answer them as briefly and quickly as possible. So you will both answer each question. Maybe Dr. Ruel can answer first, and then Miss Jodi. Ready? Okay, first, Dr. Ruel, comfort food.
Chips.
Chicken skin with suka.
Ang sarap po. What scares you in one word?
Horror film.
I'm arachnophobic, so that would be spiders.
What stresses you in one word?
Oh, don't judge me, romantic relationship.
Oh. I need from Miss Donna.
What stresses me? Don't judge me also. But no, I think it would be incompetence.
Incompetent. Your energizer.
Meditation.
My students.
Next one, one attitude you love most about yourself.
Me, I think I'd say being resilient. Because I've been through so much. Some have been, publicized, some not. But despite and in spite of everything that I've been through, I'm still here fighting.
My loyalty. Yeah, because of my loyalty, I tend to keep people.
Favorite healthy food?
Veggies! I love
Yeah,
veggies.
si Jodi. I agree. Whenever I would see her, no, whole day siya, yung lunch niya, yun. Ano ba? Fruits na lang para safe.
Okay, next one. Favorite place to relax and unwind?
The beach.
Yeah. Same with Jodi.
Beach as well. One negative thing you want to cut off from your life?
Or want to change about myself is sometimes I procrastinate. So I don't think that's good.
Ako siguro, just to modify, but because I think I still need this, being a perfectionist. No, so because of this one, I set high standards. So sometimes people get to, have a different take on that. Mm-hmm.
I see. Next one thing that inspires you.
Ako sasagutin ko na yan, no, to be honest, no, my students, my graduates, like Jodi. Because of her, it gave me a reason to me to do more. No, if I have done this to her, to other students of mine, I could still do more for others. There.
And I will forever be grateful to you, sir, my mentor.
That's sweet. How about Miss Jodi? One thing that inspires you?
I can't find of a single thing that inspires me, but maybe my family, my son 30, and whenever I see kindness around me, that is so inspiring. Parang ang sarap maging tao, ang sarap mabuhay.
Yes, that is so true. And the last one, what is your mantra on self-care?
Choose you. No? Choose you. No, I think that would be a good mantra. Choose you.
Your healthy well-being is the greatest gift that you can give to those around you.
Very beautiful. And for the last part of our segment, although I don't want it to end yet, may we ask each of you a short message about self-care for our viewers?
Just take care of yourself. And don't be ashamed to ask for help. And kukunan ko to from a K-drama. And it's okay not to be okay. You don't have to force yourself if you're not feeling okay. It's okay. So there.
Okay. So siguro yung akin is more of just a continuation of what Jodi has mentioned. We go back to saying that there's no harm loving yourself. No, there's no harm prioritizing yourself. There's no harm giving much to yourself. So for you to be able to love others, love yourself first. So there.
Very beautiful. Okay, so thank you so much. And I think that wraps up our interview. It was so encouraging, inspiring, and productive. And I would like to thank you both, Dr. Ruel and Miss Jodi, for sharing a lot of insights that will surely help our viewers.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
God bless
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your day and always practice self-care.
Yeah, choose yourself.
Yes.
Jodi, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Teacher
sir.
Donna, everyone. Teacher
Thank you,
Donna.
Dr. Ruel. Bye-bye.
Take care, Jodi. Bye-bye.
Please show me the way, baby, to your heart.